Okay, so as you can see, guys, this is my garden. Well, one of the flower beds in there that I made. The reason why these words are flashing up on the screen is basically that's what I've been having for the last couple of weeks, trying to decide where to put everything. The garden's really small. It's actually only 6 meters in depth by 10 meters wide. So this is what it looked like when we moved in December 2016. It looked really neat. I mean, there were lots of ornaments the last owner left behind, but there were hardly any plants, nowhere for the bins. The gate was rotten. It was all basically needed a massive overhaul. And this is what it looks like right now. So we laid a lawn, we built a summer house, we've put some raised beds in. People have been kind enough to donate plants to us. We've also got them from the reduced section in garden centres, B&Q home base. And we've put in a drainage area, which is a pond and a small channel going to a gate. The reason that everything looks like it's a massive state is because I thought I'd be completely honest with you. And I let the garden go over winter as I would do usually. And when it came to spring, time for me to sort everything out. Obviously, we're in the middle of this self-isolation lockdown. So these are the bags of compost and grow sacks that we got to fill up our planters that Alex made probably about a week ago. As you can see, there's a fence there in the background, so I'll come on to that a bit later. Got my air out because for once it's sunny in Scotland, and yeah, basically this is what my garden looks like. Now this cherry is actually one of my favourite plants in the garden. We were going to the local refuse site, the dump, one day, and when we turned up, someone had basically dumped this and another cherry the same size, just in some dirty old terracotta pots, and the dump people let us take it home. So this is a long shot of my garden. As you can see, it's clouded over a bit, but just to give you some idea, it really is like a small backyard, and we've had to decide really carefully where to put all the different flower beds and how we're going to do our vegetable planters because we're really limited on space. So this bit of the fence, basically that panel kept coming down every time it was windy. It scraped along the wall, completely ransacked. So when it came down, we actually made this vegetable planter out of the bits from our fence, and then Alex managed to go and pick up some other wood that an old lady had because her fence had blown down. She'd got a new one built. And then we used that to repair the hole in our fence and make 2 more vegetable planters. So yeah, that's why they all look a bit green and mouldy, because it's reclaimed wood. You can see there that there's a tree trunk on top of the potato planter. Now that usually sits on the edge of the grass there. It's got fungus on it, lots of moss, really lovely. This actually came from our cabin/bunker that we had down in Ayrshire. There was an oak tree that was actually growing under where the foundations were, so we had to chop that down, and we didn't actually realise until we cut it down that it was diseased. So what we did was we separated it from the rest of the garden, and yeah, it just makes a good feature. These here are some tulips in the foreground, and we've got some iris in the background, little blue ones. The main plant here is my geranium that Tom gave me, and it's just gone absolutely crazy. Just taken over the whole garden, basically. Here's some primulas that I've got, and some daffodils. Now, the daffodils are from Alex. He bought them for me on Valentine's Day last year. And the primula, this one here, is actually reduced in Dobby's garden centre, and I've had to split the plant in 2. It got so big. So this is my wood burner. Again, this comes from the cabin in Ayrshire. Our neighbour was really kind, and he actually gave us this, and we've been using it quite a lot because it's been quite cold. So this is a little raised border that I made using some old cobblestones that I found under a soil heap when we cleared our garden out the first time round. As you can see, there's lots of primroses. There's basically some Montbretia in that bed as well, but it keeps coming up in little clumps and then dying back, so I'm not quite sure if I'm going to keep it there or not. This is our bird feeder, obviously. Now, the reason I love it is that we actually get loads and loads and loads of different birds in the garden. So we get blackbirds, all kinds of great tit, blue tit, coal tit we've had in there as well. We even had a reed warbler last year. This is one of our favourite pigeons. Hasn't got a name, but he's there all the time. Some of the pigeons are more distinctive, like whitetail. Obviously got a white tail, but this is just one of the really nice ones. And this is Junior. He's a wood pigeon. Alex has been trying to tame him since last year, but it's a bit hard because the cats keep trying to chase him off. Okay, now I was going to end the video there, but I totally forgot. I've got these wild strawberries in the shady bit of the garden, some dogwood in the back there, and also a Jacob's ladder plant that looks awesome when the flowers come out on it. And it's the only really shady bit in the garden. The rest of it's all completely covered in sun and south facing. This is our pond. Well, it's a bit of like a boggy drainage area, but basically because it's clay soil, we didn't have to line it, and the water stays there most of the time. Sometimes we need to top it up, but we're just hoping for some wildlife. At the moment, we've got some water mint in there and just some plants that we picked up from the canal that's nearby, just to give it a head start. And that's the end of the introduction to my garden. I'm aiming to get everything set up so that's the vegetable planters with the soil in and everything, probably in the next 2 to 3 weeks. It just depends on the weather. Well, thanks very much for watching my video, and hopefully if you've got any questions I can answer them. Just pop them in the comments below or send me a message on Facebook.